You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Snap, the kick, it's been blocked again! Oh my! It's been blocked again! It's going to heave one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyree Cleveland! Oh my! I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw, pops and fires the ball over the middle. It's there! It's there! Got a touchdown! Norrick's got a touchdown! Oh man! Norrick's got a touchdown! Hands it off to Marvin. He comes back. Say goodbye.
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out a winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium and Gale. It's your boy Corey.
It's Dan.
Delatorre.
And Jordan Scarlett. Nice to meet y'all, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey man, what's up? What's up? New co-host Jordan Scarlett, St. Thomas Aquinas' very own, man. How you doing today, bro?
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Half the show, baby.
Finally got somebody to represent STA well on the show.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
All right, man. Welcome. First episode, man. Just catch everybody up to what you got going on, man. Like just professionally and personally.
On a personal level, man, I'm obviously just dying down with my family and just, kind of tuning in and becoming a family man now and a father. But on the flip side of that, on the professional level, I'm starting to get into coaching now. And, hopefully if this media thing takes off with us, which I know it will, hopefully that'll be another avenue for me. So just trying to see where things go, man. A lot of the times, guys leaving the NFL and stepping away from football is a tough thing to do. So I'm just trying to find my avenue and find my niche. So just taking it day by day.
Already.
Well, we appreciate you, Jordan. Obviously, everybody remembers you from your time at the University of Florida and then the NFL and the CFL after that. But I don't think we ever had you on the show. So let's just do kind of a brief intro and ultimately how you ended up at the University of Florida and just give us kind of a brief overview of that time and then your time at UF.
Okay, well, to take you back around the high school time, I was originally committed to FAU. That was more of a whole little scandal situation with my coach. I did a nice favor for my coach back in the day, and he always looked out for me, so we looked out for each other. Then
Do you realize what kind of favor that was?
Yeah, I know.
Like there's levels of favor,
right?
and the kind of player you were.
That
quite
was
a favor.
That was my boy, though, man. I would do anything for Coach Eric, man. To this day, he's definitely like a father figure in my life, and definitely blessed to have him in my life. But on the flip side of that, I ended up committing to Miami. Me and my best friend Sam Bruce, RIP. That's my boy. But unfortunately, we didn't end up going there together. At the time that I was committed to Miami, they was dealing with the sanctions and not bowl game eligible. Possibly Al Golden's not going to be there next year. So it was just a lot of mess going on over there, man. And I was like, honestly, I took the visit to UF. I had a couple of other linemen that was ready to go. Fred Johnson took his visit with me to UM and the UF. We both went both trips together. And we both just like, man, we feeling Gainesville. We fell in love with the visit. BP was my host. I had an amazing time. Brandon Powell, for y'all who don't know that. And yeah, man. After that, I had T-Rob recruiting me. Y'all know how T-Rob recruit.
Yeah, relentless.
Got to be a DB to get let him get you home. So it was a good experience overall, man. I ended up just picking Florida. I feel like it was the best decision for me, and it's definitely panned out. I met my wife through that school, and a lot of networking opportunities, man. Everywhere you go, it's Gators all around the world. So I'm definitely happy that I made that decision.
Awesome, man. Well, we're looking forward to getting to know you more, and obviously you're going to share a lot of your stories from the time at UF and in the NFL and the CFL and just what it's like to be a player on the team. And we've been talking for a long time about trying to bring another former player on. And just trying to find out who that right fit was and everything else. We're super excited for you, Jordan, to join this show. We're super excited for what you're going to bring to the table, I think, in terms of perspective and experience. So we always try to innovate and try to do things different and iterate, the pod and everything else. So we do always try to make it better for our listeners and for the fan base to just try to give as much perspective as possible. So super excited to have you on. Now it's 3 Broward boys versus one Palm Beach guy. I know you live in Palm Beach now, and I live
in Palm Beach. He live in Palm Beach.
Yeah, but our roots.
He's making good business decisions.
Just like many people, he retired to Palm Beach, but he's from Broward. Broward born, Broward bred. He retired to Palm Beach.
It goes like that sometimes.
I mean, he's in Gardens. Gardens is super nice, man. Great area to be in. It's up and coming. I mean, it's already coming. It's a nice area. It's a lot to do down here, but Broward's a little bit more faster, more traffic. It's a little bit more chill in Palm Beach, bro. It's sometimes you forget you got to do important things because the weather's nice, not a lot of traffic. You forget you're not on vacation sometimes.
Honestly, I love boating up there. Corey, you know that. Love boating in Palm Beach over.
Yeah.
Find me on Peanut Island any day of the week. You know what I mean?
We gotta take the boat back out. We gotta do a boat trip.
We'll shoot some content over at Peanut Island. I love it. I love it.
Sounds great.
Let's do it.
I'll bring the extra sunscreen. All right, boys. Anthony, appreciate the super chat. Jordan, welcome to the Stadium Game. Gale family, bro. Appreciate you, Anthony. Before we get into the show, Corey, you're going to do an ad read here in a second. Hit the subscribe button. Super chat will get your questions answered. If you're funny, that also might get your comment. But feel free to sidebar, have a great conversation in the comments. You guys always do. So with that being said, Corey, let's get a quick Brunt ad read.
Stadium Miguel is powered by the great folks at Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. Anything you need insured, from the Panhandle to the Keys, also just in the Southeast in general, Greg can take care of you. Boats, trailers, home, your life, anything that can be insured, Greg got you. 954-589-2204. Free quotes. It don't cost you a dime. You also can visit bruntinsurance.com to get a free quote. And he can save you some money. If he can't, it didn't cost you anything. 954-589-2204. Greg.
What it do, baby?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Let's get in to the show. Gators win a big win over Kentucky. First time in 4 tries that they were able to pull off that victory. Gators really had the game in control for the whole time. Obviously, there was a point in time where Kentucky got the game a little bit closer, but just overall, DJ Lagway's first start against an FBS opponent, or at least Power 4, in Ball, got to give him a quick shout out for his 5 touchdowns that he had tied the record for most rushing touchdowns at UF. So tied Trey Burton and tied Tim Tebow. So not a bad group to be involved in. So final score 48-20. Gators moved to 4-3 on the year, heading into a bye week. Guys, before we break down the offense and defense, just kind of give me your thoughts of the game. Jordan, I'll start with you, brother.
I would say for me, man, I was definitely pleased with the way we was able to move the ball. Lagway did a really good job of, extending plays like he usually do, and as well as throwing the ball down the field. Big shout outs to the O-line, man. They definitely were plowing guys over. We were able to establish the run game early and often. I love that about it. I love to see that. And it was just a nice game overall, man. I feel like the defense stood up. That goal line stop, it fired me up at the house, man. I was like, oh my gosh. That took me back to LSU right there when I was playing ball. We still had that goal line stop for the win. But I feel like overall they had a really good game, man. We played good on all phases of football, and that's what we need to see moving forward.
Not to take it back, but you were on the team that hurricane year, right?
Nah, I was gone.
That was you. Your last year was 16.
Yeah. I left.
Okay.
Oh, you was on you were in there for the Hurricane Miss game. Oh, not the Hurricane game.
I ain't getting no hurricanes. I missed it coming in my freshman year. It was the year before I got there, and when I left,
okay,
because it was 17 Hurricane Matthew when they moved the game to LSU late, and that was that nasty goal line stop. I thought.
Oh yeah. I was in that one. I thought you were saying.
Yeah. That's all about. Yeah, he was there for that
Q
one.
was older than you.
Yeah.
Quincy was older than you. And I remember running it. Of course, his dad found some way from, section 900 where they gave him tickets down to, right there, first row. Shout out to Chad. Chad will always find his way close to the field.
That's the last time we shout out Chad on the show.
But yeah, you said goal line stand. That reminded me of it. That was
epic. Yeah, that was an epic game.
We had one against
Georgia,
UCF as well. We had a goal line stand against UCF a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That was another one too.
Yeah, teams been trying us on them fourth downs or them thirds and distance, and bro, Big 21 ain't having it.
Right,
like he just not having it whatsoever.
And the crazy thing is, on that last stop that they got, he wasn't even in all that scuffling. He was actually to the back. He was standing up after the play. I'm like, how the hell did they get a stop without him being involved? Everybody else was all dialed in, man. Everybody was trying to make that play, make that stop, man. That's big boy football. I love to see that.
Yeah, they playing better defense. I got to give it to them. They're playing one-dimensional teams, but it's better defense for sure, bro.
For sure.
We couldn't tackle anybody last year.
That's the thing is that UCF is one-dimensional by design. They have no interest in throwing the football. If Gus Malzahn was a coach in 1927, he would fit right in. And then Tennessee, it was almost like they just kept that same defense, and they're like, "Listen, we're going to make Nico show us that he can beat us with his arm." He couldn't. Nico might be Felipe Franks. Might be the player.
Polynesian Austin Appleby is what I said. Tennessee fans didn't love that, but you know what I mean.
He might be Samoan Franks.
Bad for his teammates. We gotta get Franks on the show. You can't do that, man.
Sorry, my bad. Maybe Jordan is helping out.
Fantastic NFL special
NFL
teams.
Tight end. He's an NFL tight end with the Panthers right now.
Doing his thing, man. He finding a way to stay relevant.
He's getting paid to play football, dog. That's
one
big,
thing.
that's big deal.
That's the dream.
One thing about Felipe, man, you can't never measure his heart, man. He has straight dog in him ever since he was playing quarterback. Ever since I've known him, and he was always betting on himself and always, confident in that. So that's one thing I can always take my hat off to him. I know he sometimes makes some bonehead throws and stuff, but at the end of the day, he's a dog, and I feel like dog matters in football. You got to have some type of itch to yourself to want to, make plays in this league.
100%. Hey, Nick, before you get your overall view of the game, betting on yourself, Felipe Franks, I remember when we was trying to lure him from LSU, and he just wouldn't flip. And then we had him and Justin Fields in the same building. What's Justin Fields, right? Was that Fields?
Yeah,
that year?
I don't know if it was Justin Fields. I think it was
a different quarterback.
The quarterback that passed away down in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. What's his name?
Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins. We had him and Haskins in the same building. And they both were on commit watching, and he ended up flipping and ruined Dwayne Haskins' moment. So he bet on himself that entire season, and we was about to get Haskins instead, and he ruined that whole moment. McElwain never put out the tweet, the bat signal, or nothing. But that's just classic Felipe Franks, man.
Or was it Jacob Eason? What was that?
Jacob
Eason visit was crazy.
The Prince of Midtown. Y'all took that poor kid.
Oh my God,
to Salty with some white shoes on. His white man.
The crazy thing is that night that kid had literally the pick of whatever he wanted. He had girls coming up to him left and right. I'm like, you don't like blondes? You like brunettes? You like Asians? Well, all of them are like, hey. He's like, nah, I don't want her. Nah,
the menu.
I'm like, geez, dude.
But one of those guys is still in the NFL and the other one's not. So
right, that's it.
That picture that next morning of Eason was crazy. He had them dirty white shoes. He was looking hungover in the airport.
Oh yeah, he didn't sleep.
No, they made sure of it.
That picture was crazy.
They made sure of it.
We made sure he lived it up for sure.
I remember talking to Jake McGee a couple of years after the fact.
That was my boy.
Shout out to Jake, man. McGee cool as hell.
That trip. And Jake goes, I didn't even know the kid's name, but we made sure he had a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the number one quarterback in the country.
Yeah, but Jake was a 6-year senior when you didn't have 6-year seniors. Jake rent a car without the extra insurance. And he was like, what do you mean? Take this 17-year-old out.
So Cam Rising could run.
Yeah. Cam Rising, can he still run under those knees?
I don't know. Let's get back into the game. What are your kind of overarching thoughts? Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, so whatever they gave the defense during the bye week, bottle it, sell it, make yourself some money. But UCF's one-dimensional. They challenged Tennessee like, hey, we're going to still play this. We're going to play a lot of our cornerbacks on an island, and we're going to stack the box to stop the run. They just couldn't hit the passes. And then last week, Brock Vandegrift, I don't know what Georgia saw or what recruiting services saw. That's not a 5-star quarterback. My goodness. And it was the same thing. So you've kind of, since the bye week, you've only had to run that same defense. You're running basically the same stuff 3 weeks in a row. Now, Georgia will be multiple. Texas will be multiple. LSU, Ole Miss might not be multiple, but your next 3 opponents will be multiple. So you get a good time for this bye week, get some guys healthy. I don't want to take anything away from the defense because they're still making plays. Third down stops. Like, this was one of the worst third down defenses through 4 games in the country. And they've been fantastic, only allowing 30% over the last 3 games. So the defense has taken a huge step up. It will be a bigger challenge these next 3 weeks. So you've got this bye week and then all next week to prepare for Georgia and to really kind of refocus. But can't take anything away from the defense the way they played the last 3 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, I ain't mad at that at all. Armstrong on the field is definitely making some adjustments, I would say. You know, it was funny. I'm going to get into my overall take, but they asked him in the Napier in the presser who was calling the defense, and he kind of gave an answer of everybody. It's like, you know, nobody want to put their name on the homework or on a group project. So he just says everybody's calling the plays, but you can see them progressing. We got to get flowers on the improvement. There are some people you just can see, like, you're right, we are playing one-dimensional teams, but defense is playing well. Some guys that are just like I spoke about Aaron Gates early in the season, thought he should get more reps. 13 was everywhere, you know. On the back end, even when he's making missteps, his drive on the ball is just different. He's breaking up passes, he's knifing in, running the alley well, tackling well. Like, every phase of the game, Aaron Gates is showing his face and you know, making everybody know he's out there to make plays. Yeah. But so 13's playing well. Want to see more of LJ McCray, the young boys, man. That's my overall take of the game. You're just seeing you losing veterans at so many positions, and you're seeing these young guys come in from quarterback to running back. You lose the anchor of the team is Graham Mertz, Montrell Johnson. Those are your leaders. You lose those 2 guys, you plug in the players of the game from the game. You know, you get Lagway just throwing dimes. He threw an interception, which was hideous, but he come right back and make up for it, bro. Yeah. Like, it's just like clockwork. Even when he threw the pick, I wasn't even mad at it because I was just like, you're gonna live and die with that. He's a gunslinger a little bit, like you was talking about with Felipe. He want that deep ball. It's gonna be risky. But then Ball was just unbelievable, bro. His balance in the whole vision. He's hard to tackle. Just like everything you want out of a running back. So it was just no drop off, and you lose the center of your offense. The receivers, the weapons we thought we had, they're there. It looks way more explosive with DJ Lagway. There's no punches at Mertz. The offense is a whole nother animal, and people on the timeline is like, could this kid save Napier's job? We all know the play call ain't that sexy, but the way this kid played the position, you watching him and Ball and some RPO, it could get nasty, you know. But this was my overall take, man. Yeah. Like, I think there's some things I don't like in that middle 8. I think there's some complacency with the 2-minute warning, ending in the half. I didn't like that. But overall, we got the win, much needed win. We still haven't beat a winning team, but we got to live with it.
Let's dig into that a little bit. Dig into that a little bit, because I get why the fans are mad about that decision before halftime, because you're not watching just that game and just what's happening. You're judging 31 other games of this coach and his decisions right there. If you are in a bubble and only watching this game, I've got a freshman quarterback who's 4 of 11 with an interception.
Yeah, bad interception.
On my side of the field, and they get the ball back. Let's just run the rock, get into halftime, because if he throws a pick 6, now it's a 2-possession game and they get the ball back at half. So to me, that was conservative, but you're taking 31 other games of his decisions that you don't like and throwing it on to this one. If you just look at this game and what was happening, yes, sure, the 4 passes were for 125 yards, but it's still 4 of 11 with an interception.
Yeah, to me, it's just like taking everything into consideration as well. Like, you're coaching with your job on the line, in my opinion. And also there's safe plays that you can call. There's some deep throws that aren't going to be pick sixes. And that's what he thrive at. So I just thought there were some deep shots we could take to at least be aggressive with just some bombs, because you're just dealing with like the momentum of this team has been the early third quarter, the start of third quarter. That's when teams start to make their comeback on it. It didn't happen this game, but in college football in 2024, people are aggressive. You feel me? I think with the 2 minutes on the clock, you got to trust the kid's skill set, put some confidence behind the team and just go out there, in my opinion. But I get why he didn't. But had he lost that game, it would have came back and bit him big time.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. Well, that's a good segue. Let's just start to talk about offense. We'll do just a little bit of a deep dive here into the stats here. DJ Lagway goes 7 of 14 for 259 yards with 1 touchdown, has 3 balls batted at the line of scrimmage, does have, the 1 interception there. But overall, started off 4 of 11, like Nick, you just mentioned there, but some huge passes. Elijah Badger with 148 yards, Shim DK with 67, Eugene Wilson with 40, Arliss Boardingham with 4, and Taylor Spirito with 20. You only see 6 receivers out there that got targets in the game. Let's talk a little bit about that. Are you guys kind of surprised that it's those guys? I know that there was only 15 total passes in the game. 1 was by the backup quarterback, Warner. So are you guys kind of surprised, or are you guys just fine with the way that the ball was distributed?
No, I would like to see more 11. We've seen, especially with DJ on the field, like the 11 could stretch the field. They had some chemistry and all the offseason clips they played together in the spring game. You can see the chemistry between 11 and Lagway. So I want to see more Aiden Mazzell. Frazier's has been around for a while. And he seems like a more possession receiver. For as many targets he gets, he's just not coming down with reception. So I just think, like, as we're seeing, when we go to this youth movement, these guys are more explosive and better guys. And I think there's just some seniority thing going on. It's tough. I get it. It's politics. Like, these kids also have pro careers that you're trying to protect a little bit. So, but I think Frazier's just not better than 2 or 3 other receivers.
I think Jaquavion Frazier's hosted Jordan on his recruiting visit. That's how long he's been on campus. Only 1 catch for Trey Wilson, only 2 targets. Like, I
think he's getting frustrated, man.
You're not going to get 11 on the field if 3 is only getting 2 targets. Like, they play the same position. You got to find a way to get him the ball. There definitely is some chemistry with Elijah Badger and DJ Lagway, and it's real. Before the year, when I told you, like, hey, Badger's playing second string behind Khalil Jackson, maybe that chemistry started developing when Badger first got on campus.
You said that, or did I say that? Because I feel like that's been my take since January. But I mean, I'm not telling you.
You both said it.
Maybe we both
said it.
Maybe we both said it.
I just want to make sure.
A swagger jacket.
I don't get a lot of takes on the show. I just want to make sure.
At gunpoint, Dan comes over. Whose take was that?
I just want to make sure whose take it was, just so the fans know.
There's definitely some chemistry there. We asked Badger after the game if he feels like he's finally being utilized, like his skill set, being able to go and get those deep shots. He just laughed and said, yeah. But yeah, like Dan said, you only had 15 passes. There will be games. Listen, you're going to have to outscore Georgia. You're not holding Georgia to 17 points. You're not going to hold LSU or Ole Miss or Texas to 17. You're going to have to outscore. DJ's going to be asked to pass more.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like I said before the year about my Tank take was I don't think Tank's going to get those opportunities because you've got Aiden Mizell and Eugene Wilson ahead of him. And if you're talking about getting Mizell reps, then Tank's
How about this brilliant idea, right? Here's a brilliant idea.
What do you call 3 of them on the field?
Put your best receivers on the field. Find a way to get your best 3 receivers on the field. That's not that deep. It's not that sophisticated of a take, but
I feel like
find a way to get your best.
Write that one down for the Hall of Fame of takes on the show.
Put that right down.
Like, it's just not that deep, bro. Like, you don't have to put Mizell at the slot. Like, he's a tall kid. He's about 6'1", 6'2", if I'm not mistaken, right? He can go out wide. You just gotta get your best 3 on the field, man.
If you can repeat that, I'm gonna tell Billy on Monday. What was that again?
Make sure you say that at the presser so the fans don't be on your neck.
You ask better questions, Nick. Those are the questions fans want. But no, I mean, just going over stats here real quick. Elijah Badger nearly 50 yards on his 3 receptions per reception, and ends up with 148 yards, 49.3. So the team averaged 34.9 yards per reception, which I'm not going to do the research, but that's got to be in the, top 30, maybe top 10 games of all time. Maybe Nick, you can take a look at that of all time and just in terms of total number. But yeah, I mean, Badger, Wilson, and DK. Eugene Wilson obviously gets 2 targets, just the 1 reception. Cardio hour when he's out there for sure, moving him all up and down the field. But only 8 completions in the entire game. You can't expect everybody.
But 250 is crazy. But 8 completions with 250 sounds nuts.
It's nuts. Absolutely. So, I'll take it, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll absolutely take it, but that might not work against your Georgias, Texases, your Ole Miss, LSU.
But it makes the run game easier, as we saw. Because now the safeties are out of the box. So even if we don't do that every single game, the run game is going to be better because of that threat to just hit bombs.
I mean, Kentucky was lining their safeties, actually in Kentucky.
For sure.
And Jordan can speak to this too, but it's kind of what you said too with DJ is when you've got a quarterback that can run like him, now you're respecting the RPO. You're playing 11 on 11. You've got a linebacker that has to sit and watch, or a nickel that has to sit and watch. So it becomes easier to block up front. Those running lanes that Jaden Ball was running through are a little bit bigger because they have to play 11 on 11. You're not, it's not 10 guys on 11 or 11 defenders against 10 guys because you're not worried about the quarterback running. So it should open up things in the running game. It should open up deep passes. I mean, DJ just has a special arm. That ball, the post he threw to Badger was even that one surprised me because it was just put right on my hands.
It was crazy.
Dude, it's an effortless throw. It's an effortless throw too. There were times that he was rocking on his back foot or just making a move and barely stepping into it. And it was a dart.
It's crazy. Hey, give me your perspective from just what you think of the running game with Billy Napier and the RPO. Just what's your vision? Do you like that style of offense, or is it running back friendly? What's your perspective on it?
To be honest with you, I'm definitely pleased with the way that they were running the ball, obviously, and just the play calling on it. And I'm a big fan of run first. I feel like as a team, if you can establish a run game against any opponent, it's going to be hard for you to lose that ball game because it just opens up so many other things. Just like you were saying, as far as with his deep ball, they kind of got to respect that, and that they got to let the safeties be a little bit more deeper. So that opens up some run lanes. And as well as him being a runner himself, I mean, like you said, football is a game about numbers, baby. You got to account for him now. It's not like you can just put 2 dudes on the back or whatever the case may be. So I definitely am loving the running game, man. I think that we should definitely just keep on trying to build confidence in that every week. So when we do get to the games where maybe the run isn't so efficient, we got our go-to runs that our linemen love to block, that we can call that play call and get 3 to 4 yards, and it's not a stuffed play or something like that. So I want them to continue to build on the run because I know that's the foundation of winning football games, is having great defense and, being able to establish a run game. Because I have full faith that he can throw the ball and sling it when he can. So if we can get the running going, get the safeties to come up and play in the box, we got the box a little heavy. I would love one-on-one matchups with his arm any day.
They like to zone block. A lot of their schemes are zone blocking with Sale, but it seemed like they were hitting the stretch a little bit against Kentucky, and it looked like they hit it one time and they're like, all right, let's see if we can roll that 11 again.
Right.
Is that kind of what you saw, and then what did you see, I guess, from the running game, and why was it so effective against Kentucky, which is a team that typically
had a solid defense.
Yeah, it's a solid defense. They had the 3rd best run defense in the SEC. 10th in the country heading into that game.
Yeah, I think we had more yards rushing in the first half than they had allowed all season.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. I would say definitely the zone running is what I saw. A lot of outside zone. I seen him capturing the edge as well as just hitting the crease when he found it, man. Sometimes where you run the outside zone, defenses get to stretch the field and trying to play that, and so that's opening up creases for him to get those 8-yard gains. Because he was having some tough runs, man, and I was loving the way he was running physical all game. Low pad.
He running downhill, boy.
Low pad level. He just getting through there. And I feel like I always tell my running backs this at high school. Now I'm like, listen, outside zone does not mean it's always supposed to go outside. don't be hauling behind out there every play, because the more better players get at football is the more you're going to see. It's not going to get outside like that. These defensive ends are taught to set their edge and play defense. And at the same time, as a running back, we kind of want that because we want to go north and south. So if they stretching the field out and we get to cut it up, man, get some good yardage, some good tough yards, I would love to live in that land every game if we could. So I'm definitely pleased with the play calling and the runs go and everything like that.
Yeah, obviously pulled it up here on YouTube, of a huge variety, much more. And I'll do some research. Maybe we talk about it a little bit more next week. It did seem like they ran outside the ends of Kentucky more in this game than they did in previous games this season. Obviously had a lot more success on the left-hand side of the field. Their 3 rushes for more than 10 yards, and then 2 right up the middle where they got 10 yards. But, overall, 208 yards rushing on 41 carries, 5 touchdowns, 6 rushes for more than 10 yards. And that was without Montrell Johnson. We also didn't see Treyon Webb this game, even though he was taken off the injury report. We just saw a heavy dose of Jaden Ball, who we'll talk about a little bit more here in a second, but Jaden Ball, and then with Jacoby Jackson coming in as well. Jacoby Jackson ended up with 44 yards on 9 carries. So shout out to him, man. And then DJ Lagway, 57 yards on 8.1 yards per attempt. So the rushing game was working the entire game, and I will give the offensive line here some discussion. But overall, team looked very good running the rock, especially without your on the depth chart, your top 2 guys.
And Lucky Chucky mentioned it there. Deion Walker, big number 0. I love when a guy is 6'6", 350 pounds, and picks the number 0. That's a guy that's going to play on Sunday for a decade.
For sure.
He's a monster. That play that he batted the ball down, that was going to be a touchdown to Elijah Badger.
Absolutely.
You're talking about a guy who's 350 outside of the hash marks, then with the presence of mind to get his hand up when he's not going to get to the quarterback. That dude's special. In Florida, credit to Jake Slaughter, credit to Najee Harris and Damian George, the guys inside handling him, because he's a handful.
Right.
They came to play. Super impressed with the offensive line that game, man. And especially with even protecting the young quarterback. I was worried about Mark Stoops could dial it up. Like, he's one of the best defensive coordinators in college football, period. And we handled a lot of the blitz. DJ Lagway got us out of bad. He's just a smart-headed kid. What surprised me was his run ability. We know he can run, but I thought he was more of a bruiser runner. When he got an open field, bro, he put some stuff on skates. Like, he put a couple guys in the blender, and that took me by surprise. I was like, whoa, this ain't just a Tebow runner. Like, this is somebody that can make you miss as well. So it was decisive good runs too. Go ahead. You got it.
No, I was just going to say, and we talked a little bit about this last week, kind of towards the end of the show, is like, does the offense change with the fact that you don't really have a suitable backup behind DJ Lagway, right? You have the Yale transfer in Warner, who's the backup, and you have Clay Millen, who looks like he's going to be redshirting this year as well. So at the end of the day, like, you have DJ Lagway, and if DJ Lagway gets hurt, what do you do then? And obviously it's a lost season at that point, but I was curious to see if the game plan would change with DJ Lagway being now your really only option at quarterback, and it doesn't seem like it did. And I was impressed to see that. So I was happy with the way that DJ Lagway ran the offense. He seemed like he knew what he was doing. And Kentucky had a good defense. Obviously, Florida puts up 48 points on him, but Kentucky coming into that game, they had played some tough opponents. They had played Ole Miss, they had played Georgia. They had some tough opponents on their schedule already. And, they already beat Ole Miss. They lost to Georgia by 1 point, who looked to be finding their stride, unfortunately, right now. But that was a good team, and I'll give all credit due to a guy that's starting his second game. Looked like he was in command of that offense.
Yeah, that's what made it a little like just sour for me. Watching how we play Kentucky and how Kentucky play others, and then watching the Bama Tennessee game before we played that night, and they beat Bama. I was like, yo, we played Tennessee way stronger. Like, we dominated Tennessee and should have won that game. Yeah. And then you watch them dominate Bama a little bit. They kind of, I don't know what DeBoer is doing, but they just wasn't like moving the ball, and we were moving the ball way easier, but stalling in the red zone. And we left so many points on the field. Tennessee's finding a way to win. Don't want to discredit them, but I thought we let that one get away from us, and we could easily be 5-2 right now. Yeah. But just got to clean up some things. But we showed that we got the talent to play with absolutely anybody in the country. The last 2 weeks, the talent's there.
I feel like there might be a new coach on your coaching hot board at the end of the show. William Napier might have found his way on your.
Oh hell no!
No.
William Napier, add him on to the coaching hot board. Silk.
No.
We haven't beat a winning team yet, bro. Like
True.
Kentucky win. I want to give my young pups like they flowers because you can see the potential on this roster, bro. All these young freshmen. Even we're gonna talk defensively, but you lose one of your leaders in Marshall, and then Cormoney comes on and pick six and something like quick. It's like, whoa, where's this kid been at, man? We know he got some stuff going on, but you got to put these players on the field. They on your roster and they can play. You got to put them on the field, man. That boy is different, like just different. The plays he made and a couple plays that he was on was just impressive. So it's just a little sour, bro. Like the talent's there and the right coaching could these kids to go make a run at the playoffs. That's not far-fetched at all. 12 teams make it, and Florida should be in that mix every year.
Yeah. I'm just going to show this Jaden Ball touchdown. I thought that this was his best touchdown. His best touchdown of the game. Obviously, it came in at the wrong time, but you'll see, just powers his way through a whole host of people. He could have ran into, Florida offensive linemen. Obviously, there's a ton of opportunity for Georgia Kentucky to tackle him and just powers through. What'd you guys think of that fourth touchdown that he had, though? Do you think that was an actual touchdown?
They
cut the lights off.
Yeah, that's what I tweeted. I was like, once he cut the lights, it's confirmed. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like when a pitcher throws something on like the black and like starts walking off the mound before the umpire calls anything. Just trying to sell it for whoever's in charge of the lights. Like, you know what? That's a touchdown. Let me help you out, ref.
That was definitely a close call, but he tried to get it over there. They actually had a pretty sweet camera angle of that, like the end zone shot, basically him trying to stretch the ball over. It looked like it made it, but it was definitely a close
They
call.
let the whistle go a long time. They let the forward progress just move a little bit longer than they let Kentucky's, and I appreciate that from the Zebras, man.
What's the coaching point there from you as a player and now a coach? What's the coaching point? Because you could be trying to stretch and all of a sudden the ball's going 99 the other way.
That's a fact. I would say the player in me, I see why he stretched it out. He want to set some records. He trying to, get that last one in. But the coach in me is definitely saying, man, this is not a do or die situation. Only time you should really stretch the ball out is overtime, game on the line. The game is over if we don't score this touchdown. That's when I'm okay with you stretching it to potentially have a fumble. But if we up 2-3 scores and you just giving up fumbles like that, I probably will be mad tomorrow.
Yeah. But hell of a game by Jaden Ball. I know we've given him his flowers a little bit, but just we saw it in the orange and blue game, and then we saw it starting this year that he looked different. And I'll be honest with you, I thought Kanan Daniels probably had a better chance of playing this year over Jaden Ball, but Jaden Ball has proved to be an absolutely a fantastic running back for being a true freshman, and who knows, he could be the next elite back at the University of Florida or elsewhere, but hopefully at the University of Florida.
This staff can eval, especially at the running back position. The way Jaden Ball's playing, we do not miss Trevor Etienne.
Right, for sure. He was a good back.
I told me when we was on the we did the Flow Factory. I told you, I was like, hey, bro, it's a young boy on that team. Jaden Ball.
You did.
I say he's about to get loose. He went crazy in the spring game. So like, I don't think we missing Trevor whatsoever, bro. And we'll get another shot at him soon.
Dan, I'm sending you another angle of that real quick before we move topics.
Oh, okay, cool.
In the chat.
All right. Share this real quick. All right.
I think Zach tweeted it, but the girl Talia Baya, she's a student at Florida. I think she's the one that got the video of it.
All right, so we got the play. He's fighting. They're picking him back up, and then I see it now.
You gotta show it though. Show it. You were not sharing.
I was watching it on a separate screen. I mean, this is what you get for being the producer, the host, and trying to get your great takes off at the same time. Yeah, no, he does. He looks like he powers through there. You didn't see it on the TV angle, but who was the videographer?
Devin Walker's in there. Talia Baya, she's a senior at Florida.
Thank you for that video. No, great angle. It looks like he does get the ball just barely over, and the second that ball crosses the plane, it's a good touchdown. And then you get the lights flickering, which I love.
Artist sold it too. Artist was selling the hell out of it.
Jazz hands, Boardingham over there.
No, throw it up, bro. I don't want to take it for granted either because we had the ball at the one last week and then we fumbled on first down on the one at a quarterback. So, like, yeah, like throwing the hands up, there's no guarantee we're going to get to that next down. Give it to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the offensive line. Let's just give them some credit. I thought Najee Harris had probably his roughest game, but he was blocking Deion Walker most of the game. So that's a tough one. I know that he allowed a couple of unfortunate hurries and some pressures that he allowed to give up. But Jake Slaughter had the best game on the offensive line, followed by Hayden Clem, who played late in the game. Most people probably aren't familiar with him. He's a walk-on there. Bryce Lovett had a pretty good scored game. Team, despite how many rushing touchdowns they had and how many rushing yards they had overall, didn't grade out very well according to Pro Football Focus. So we're just going to pretend like those stats don't matter. I'm going to find ones that better fit my narrative. Austin Barber, Jake Slaughter, Bryce Lovett, Cam Waits, and Brandon Crenshaw Dixon all rank as your top 5, which is what you want out of that group. Caden Jones and Najee Harris are at the bottom. So just not a great game for Najee Harris, but that's okay. Gators still walk away with a W there. Allowed just 1 quarterback hit, 0 sacks, 4 hurries, and 5 pressures. The guys that gave up the pressures were, let's see what we got here. Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, Hayden Hansen, Najee Harris, Jacoby Jackson, and Caden Jones. So, but overall, solid offensive line performance against a very talented Kentucky, or let's say talented Kentucky defensive line. Anybody stand out to you one way or the other?
Offensive line wise, no, not really.
I think Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, despite giving him he has played so much better after those first.
So you were wrong.
He was very bad against Miami.
Yeah.
But you
couldn't hide him against Miami.
Your Pac-12 buddy said that he just couldn't play in this league too, though.
Yeah.
Like he looks okay. Like he can survive in this league a little bit.
Right.
You're saying I'm wrong, but I was just the USPS. I was the postal delivery man. You ran the electricity and the water all month, and you're mad at me for bringing you the bill. It was on you. I was just passing the message along.
Yeah, but I feel like the left side did a really good job of blocking up front. I saw a couple plays where Lagway even got out on the edge on a little read option, and as well as obviously Ball had a great night running outside zone left and right and through the middle. So I would give a better shout out to the left side. They definitely held it down and showed that it was a great dominant performance.
I wrote about this a couple of weeks ago, but I think Jaden Ball, obviously we see what he does with the ball in his hands, but he has picked up pass blocking, and his pass pro has been really good. And that's, I think, what has given him more opportunities. How hard was it coming in from high school when you were asked to pass block this much? They're just handing you the ball, and then all of a sudden you get to college, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, you need to know who to block, and that who is normally going to be someone who's 6'3", 240, and running at you full speed."
I was definitely it was definitely a challenge, but luckily I was blessed to have a really great defense when I was at UF. So going through training camp with those dogs, man, they taught me very early as far as, pass pro wise, where my eyes need to be. Jared Davis and Antonio Morrison, they crazy dudes, but at the end of the day,
hey, tell the Antonio Morrison story, bro.
Oh my God, Tone's an animal though, for real.
Antonio is absolutely crazy, man.
He's the first and only person to ever make my face mask hit my nose.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? I literally got hit by him. I hit the ground. I'm like, yo, why is my nose hurting? My helmet's on. I'm like, what? And man, literally used to smack anything. Between him and JD, man, they were some real hard hitting dudes, and they used to take they never took a day off on team running pass pro. They was always ready to go, man. You would think those dudes took pre-workout or something before practice, man. So
we was at the Senior Bowl, and there was a big booster that I know that lives in Alabama, and I walked up to Antonio. I was like, "Hey, this booster wants to meet you." He goes, "Booster?" He sends money to Florida. I was like, "Yeah." He walks over. He goes, "Hey, man, we need more money. We don't got hot water in the shower." He starts running off a list of complaints to this guy, and I'm like, "Yo, my bad. I had no idea what he was going to tell you."
You can't never trust Tone, man. He's a crazy dude, man. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth, for real.
That locker room fight
guys
story
writing
you told
checks
me was
with
next
commas
level.
yearly. And
you talking about when you were in the shower?
Yeah, the locker room, the shower fight.
Oh my God, yeah. I think he was definitely around for that time, Nick. I believe so. But yeah, it was him and Chris Thompson. They got into a fight at practice. I don't know how it ended up being a fight.
Shout out to Chris.
Yeah. Chris did
Shout
his thing.
out to Chris.
Yeah, it's a Thompson thing.
Yeah, so them two got in a little scuffle at practice, and basically he was mouthing off at practice. He's like, all right, make sure you see me when we get in the locker room. Like, you feel me? Just we ain't even gonna worry about it out here. It's too many cameras. He's like, all right, cool. Man, once we broke the huddle, Chris was the first dude in that locker. He gone. So Tone get back. Tone looking for him. That boy comes in the shower. People take a shower. He comes in the shower, sneakers on, butt naked. Like, what is nigga at? I'm like, what? You plan to come in here and fight a man butt naked with sneakers on? You ain't trying
he's got sneakers for traction.
I'm like,
you don't want to fall.
Ready for war, brother. And I can't mess with crazy people like you, dog. You got it.
It was probably some black Air Force Ones. Those are the shoes you wear into the shower to fight.
100%.
Man, nuts. I want to bring us back here. Shout out to Stephen Harris. He's here. Yeah, hit the like and subscribe button.
Steve, what it do, baby?
I do want to talk a little bit about it. Stephen Harris says George is definitely an NFL guard and is getting better every game. I think if you look at the offensive line now to where we were 5 games ago, and obviously you still have a lot of talent and talented teams ahead on the schedule and everything else, but the way that I look at this right now, I think Austin Barber is an NFL player. I think Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon has the potential to be an NFL player too. I think Jake Slaughter's probably an NFL player. I don't know his starter or wherever. All of a sudden you look at this team and you're like, do they have 4 potential NFL players? And then whatever Najee Harris grows up into, in a couple of years as well, like all of a sudden
Caden Jones. Fletcher.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at what your starters are now.
Roster, bro.
You have 4, potentially 5 on your offensive line that might make the NFL, which is not something that we've talked about often on this program.
To pull it back a little bit farther, I know Austin Barber wanted to go to the NFL last year. He's probably thinking NFL this year with what he's put on tape. Jake Slaughter's probably NFL ready. If you get those 2 guys back, you've got a nasty offensive line next year. They'll have decisions to make at the end of the year. Don't know which way they're leaning, one way or the other. But if you can get them back,
they all need another year.
I bet the fan says, yeah, you know what, you guys need another year.
I don't know if any of them are like.
You don't need that second round, third round money.
I don't think any of them are first or second round guys right now.
Right. In the way NIL is going, shoot, I'm not saying what's the rush. Low key, what's the rush? Especially
they getting some big checks.
Come back to make more money. Shoot, you upping your draft status by coming back and potentially can win something big. The playoff bracket is way bigger now. You got a better chance of making it. I feel like if they real team players and they definitely want to do it for their team, and I think that they'll make the right move to come back.
Ricky Pearsall, we said that about him after his first year at Florida, was probably a fifth, 6th round guy. Come back, you're going to make more money and have a guaranteed roster spot.
Yeah.
If you're a 5th or 6th round guy, that roster spot's not guaranteed.
I'm trying to tell you, fight.
And that check doesn't have 2 commas either.
What?
Shout out to Ricky Pearsall. First NFL catch. He came back before Christian McCaffrey, who was day-to-day before the season started. Actually, people didn't even know he was injured. So
wild. Christian McCaffrey, ankle.
Shout
Ricky
out to
Pearsall, gunshot.
Yeah,
who comes back first?
Rick.
I know all the fantasy owners are still pissed at C-Mac.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pissed too. I took him first overall, and I mean, the team's making it. We're having some good conversations in the locker room. We're getting prepared each and every week. Some guys are stepping up for me, but looking forward to getting C-Mac back. And I know that you were on the same team as Christian McCaffrey there with the Panthers. Jordan, let's get into the defensive side. Any more thoughts on the offensive side of the ball?
No, I just see I can see the talent there. The talent's there, bro. We didn't have it together that first game whatsoever. It just took these guys too long to even get competent. So that first game versus Miami, we play Miami. Do we probably lose right now to keep it a bean? Yeah, we probably lose, but it's a different football game for sure. And I don't know if we lose if Lagway's the guy. He's just as that dynamic and can bring those intangibles. I'm not gonna say just as dynamic. Cam Ward is playing next level right now to keep it a bean, but Lagway changes games. when you can get that explosive, not trying to move the ball down methodically like we were doing versus Miami. Talented defense. It seemed like at that time they looked talented versus us, but they seem to be Swiss cheese now. So I just think we needed more time. And that Miami game out the gate just wasn't it. But it shouldn't take that long because college football these days, you don't get warm-up games. Game one is heat right away.
Last thing about the offense for me, is my Hayden Hansen, Jonathan Odom take still egregious?
Yes.
Yes. Hayden Hansen's better than Jonathan Odom.
Hayden Hansen's way better than Jonathan. Hayden Hansen's going to play on Sundays.
You guys are just low on Jonathan Odom. That's the same player.
No, Hayden Hansen's going to play on Sundays.
Both
Jonathan Odom
guys.
has a career. He's at a career fair right now.
Yeah, no, Nick, your take is egregious. Jordan, his take is that Hayden Hansen is just Jonathan Odom with a different last name.
He's a little taller.
I don't know. Give or take that one. It's
I'll take it to myself then.
Jordan doesn't want to come out calling you a liar just yet. We'll wait till episode 2 or 3 that he's on. We call Nick out a lot. He says some egregious things. All right, let's get to the defensive side of the ball. Before we do that, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Shock Top, who's the official craft beer sponsor of the Florida Gators. So go check them out. Appreciate them. But to also go give a shout out to our friends over at Homefield Apparel. Go visit homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale. You get 15% off of your order, about 30 different things that you could pick from the University of Florida, baseball pullover, t-shirt. They also have a starter jacket, but a lot of other schools. So it's about that time to be the holidays and gift giving time. So go check them out, whether it's University of Florida or about 100 other schools that are out there. Homefieldapparel.com, promo code Stadium and Gale. Also want to give a quick shout out before we get to the defensive side of the ball to the 1984 Gators team that returned and was recognized at the game. I know Pat Miller, who's been on the show numerous times. He actually invited us out to his tailgate over there. So shout out to Pat, Crawford Kerr, Alonzo Mitz, the rest of those guys. In my opinion, Florida needs to retroactively claim that national championship. One of the computer rankings had the Gators number 1 overall. So if everybody else is doing it, if teams are claiming them during World War II, then hell, Florida needs to claim that 1984, at least SEC championship, if not national championship. But I want to give them a quick shout out. Defensive side of the ball, another good defensive performance by the Florida Gators, led by Cormani McClain. Everybody wants us to talk about him, and we will. He was the Gators' highest-ranked defensive player in the game, ended up with a pick 6. Devin Moore was second, followed by Grayson Howard, Tyreek Sapp, Tre'Quez Bridges, who had an interception, George Gums, Jordan Castell, Caleb Banks, and Dez Watson, and then Dijon Johnson were your top 10 ranked players in that game. Gentlemen, overall thoughts on the defensive side of the ball. Do want to point out that Jason Marshall also went out with what looked to be a collarbone injury. Nick, let's start with you on defense.
Yeah, I think up front, I've been impressed. Florida's defensive line's been doing a good job. We'll start with Cormani because everyone wants to talk about Cormani. I think Jason Marshall going down. Devin Moore went down but was able to come back in the game. Jason Marshall going down, it looked like either a dislocated shoulder or a collarbone from the way that they were working on him up under that pad. Then he comes back. I think that obviously lends more opportunities to, a Cormani McClain with Jakeem Jackson out as well.
Yeah.
Cormani, like we've always said it, has the ability. There's never been a question outside of him needing to gain weight. And when you're 6'2", $170, like you need to gain weight. But outside of that, we've never questioned anything. It was off the field. And Deion Sanders called him out about Cormani needs to figure out his stuff off the field, needs to mature. And I think that's what we've always said about him. We can talk about the touchdown. I think that's just a bad throw. It's a late throw late. He made the play. The play that really stands out to me was the PBU he had. After that, man. He's a step late, a step behind. He showed closing speed, goes up, high points it, gets his hand on the ball. That play was even better. And before that, he even had a tackle, an assisted tackle. So he's a guy who I think if he gets everything in order, dots his I's, crosses his T's off the field, he's going to be a guy that you keep seeing making those kind of plays. But overall, Florida's defense, we kind of talked about it at the top of the show. They've played 3 straight offenses who were kind of one-dimensional. I don't know that Tennessee's is one-dimensional, but Florida challenged them to not be. and they did not.
Oh yeah, they wanted to mention
with Samoan Franks. But I think the defense is taking a step forward, and it will be a challenge the next 3 weeks with the offenses that they're going to face. But have been super impressed with the defense these last 3 weeks.
Yeah, what you thinking, Jordan? I'm gonna get into mine. I got like some.
Okay, yeah, to piggyback what off he said, man, I feel like the front seven definitely did their thing, man. Shout out to my boy Sap, Brad Counter, we always here, but I think the front seven definitely did their job. I wasn't too impressed with the defensive backs. I feel like even from the previous game, Tennessee and even UCF a little bit, not as much, but Tennessee got behind us a little bit. They had a couple overthrows. Like, obviously, an overthrow means incompletion, but I don't like to see that happening too often. Even Kentucky, a couple guys got behind us a couple times, and I just feel like obviously the defense is a little young. We got some dudes moving in and out, dudes getting hurt, but I would like to see the defensive backs kind of step it up, I feel like Florida's always known for having great defensive backs, and so I want to keep that standard. So I would like for them to pick up that. But front seven is definitely doing their thing, man. The D-line is holding it down. Linebackers doing their thing as well. So I love to see us be able to stop the run. We're going to need that versus Georgia and all these big opponents that we're coming up against. We got to be able to stop the run early and often. So a good performance from them overall, man. Hopefully they keep it up when we get these big opponents.
Absolutely. I do want to pull up that Cormani McLean PBU that he had and try to go for an interception or try to do something crazy. All he wanted to do is just get it away from the wide receiver. So great play by him in that game. Corey, give me your thoughts on the defense, and then we'll kind of go group by group here. And by the way, when I read the list, that's just how they ranked as the top 10. I'm not saying that Aaron Gates wasn't a top 10 player in that game. That's just how PFF, if you're curious, PFF has Aaron Gates and Jack Pyburn, who you guys have been asking a lot about and talking about, as tied for number 11 in the game. So Corey, but go ahead on your defensive takes.
Yeah, overall, man, Jack Pyburn is playing lights out. Another guy that, liked his mentality, but those first 2 games, I wasn't feeling it. And I said it on the show, he just wasn't showing me anything pass rush wise. But Billy spoke about him and said there was a guy they need to get more reps, and he was right. Pyburn is just playing lights out, man. Like, he's just crashing on the offensive line. He's assignment football. Like, how you teach the position is how he's playing the positions. Just a young guy just earning his snaps, man. The front seven, even Jaden Robinson. We talked a lot about Shamar Pup coming over, but Jaden Robinson is an absolute dog in that front seven. He's just playing outstanding football. He's going to play on Sundays. Defense is just loaded. Tyreek Sapp is playing in boy shorts and swim trunks. Those are not, I don't know, you talk about your Broward County boy, but he is playing in underwear out there, bro.
Bro, don't listen.
He need to get himself right. He takes some plays off every now and then, but I think when he want to do it, I think he can turn it on.
Oh, no, he could go. He got a good motor.
He's talking about Tyreek. Tyreek has never met a pair of shorts that he hasn't rolled up from the bottom to show off those thighs.
Thighs out, man.
Listen, buddy, if you start squatting, you might roll yours up. You might show the thighs off.
I need to get my leg working. My leg work looking crazy. But what do the refs give y'all a hard time about, like, the way some of these guys with their shorts? There's no knee pass or thigh pass going on some of these guys whatsoever.
Yeah, I know they do sometimes try to make a point of it. I'm not sure how it is in these recent times as far as any rule changes or anything like that, but they used to be on us about covering the knees and stuff like that.
Okay. I just couldn't imagine with the way that these helmets knock around, and especially in these like scrums, taking a helmet to the knee and then just being able to bounce right back up. But I don't have the same amount of swag that Tyreek Sapp had. I'm from North Broward.
He's wearing he's wearing 4.5-inch inseams, man. Tyreek is from like around St. Thomas. Tyreek, whenever
and I'm from
area around.
Creek, you know what I mean? Yeah.
He didn't just go there. He's from the area.
But you guys didn't illegally recruit him. I got you.
St. Thomas has never recruited anybody. Jordan, I've had to fight this on my own for 5 years now. St. Thomas has never recruited. They just offer a great education in elite sports.
Who doesn't want to come here? You see the place, you fall in love. You go in there.
I mean, if the option to go to Coral Springs High School outweighed my desire to go to Jordan, you know what I mean? Getting beat by Ely and Tyrone Moss 70-0 my freshman year. He didn't play the entire second half and it was a running clock. That's what I wanted for my homecoming. I've got a hot take here. I think that Jaden Robinson is your second best linebacker on the team right now. I think Shamar James is a good player, and I think that there's impacts that he makes that you don't necessarily see on the stat sheet. But I think Pup Howard is your best, then Jaden Robinson, then Shamar James. I'm going to even go as far as to say I don't know if Shamar James is like a vastly different player from like his freshman year and sophomore year than he is now. But the emergence of Jaden Robinson to me is incredible, because I think we were talking about Aaron Childs and Miles Graham, and Jaden Robinson's name was in there, but I think he's having so much of a better year than any of us had talked about before this season.
He definitely slowed down the freshman reps.
He had 7 touchdowns as a senior in high school. He did not play offense.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah, that's solid. It's pretty good. That's a good stat, Nick. Yeah.
Should have been given a stat.
Nick. That was good, Nick.
Stat of the day.
I appreciate you, stat guy. All right, let's
overall,
go.
On defense, just a couple more takes. Defensive back wise, I'm with him, and I said this last week, that Tennessee game, why Nico can't hit the broadside of a barn. Beck may. Carson Beck throws a better football, so we got to shore up those lacks in coverage when people are getting behind us. But Devin Morris found the football. Loving that. As long as he's injury-free, he tends to be in good position. This time he found an interception. Like the way Aaron Gates is breaking on the football. The drive of these guys when they're breaking to break up the pass is just different than the older guys. So I like the way Aaron Gates is playing. Sharif Denson. Was he out this week?
Yeah, he did not play this week.
He played.
Yeah, so.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
So
PFF didn't say that he was on defense, but I saw him playing early on defense. He also plays special teams on kick cover. He wears number 32. They make the announcement every single time Florida kicks the ball. Number 0 is now wearing number 32.
Yeah, they don't have him logging snap in this game. Was he you think he was injured and they just felt comfortable with just him on special teams? Or
I mean, I don't know. It's like he
had a fantastic game against Tennessee. And he's had a fantastic year.
Both him and Aaron Gates have played fantastic when they've been in.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have. Like, you got to keep them both happy somehow, but like, I would rather have 2 redshirt. I'm not going to
bench my guy.
I mean,
I like Aaron Gates, but
Aaron Gates is an absolute dog.
Yeah, but Sharif,
you got to find a way to get the best DBs on the field. I think like cross training them at safety. Both of them, I tweeted that during the game. You got to find a way to get 0 and 13 on the field at the same time. Like just playing outstanding football. When one's on the bench, you're doing the defensive secondary, just not any justice. You got to put both of those guys on the field, and that's usually a position you cross train, like safety and star. So I think they should just cross train both of them at that position to try to get the best 5 DBs on the field.
Yeah, I think Triquez Bridges though had a great game. They put him at safety.
You had Jordan Castell, Triquez Bridges get both get 32 snaps, and then DJ Douglas only gets 1, and Cormani McLean lined up in the safety position 3 times in the game, it looks like, or maybe that's just how they put him in. No, they didn't. Sorry, that's just how they logged him in here in the system. But yeah, nothing in the way of Sharif Denson getting a snap on defense.
Nick was at a different Gator game.
I seen it.
Yeah, definitely shoot cross training though, man. I feel like even we did that when my time at Florida, we kind of had some of the DBs. We had so many good DBs. You had to find a way to get somebody on the field, man. Duke Dawson was going from playing star to playing a little safety, and then right back to corner. We had a lot of guys trying to move around just to make their way on the field. So I feel like they need to do a good job of, seeing what players fit at and kind of get this thing going, man. We need to be back to DBU again. I'm tired of hearing about LSU and all these other places.
Yeah, no,
it definitely improved, man. Will Harris got him looking a little better, but we don't fix a few of those problems. They're gonna show themselves in the Georgia game.
Absolutely. Your rankings for just coverage in the game, Cormani McLean ranked as your best. George Gums, we haven't really talked about him much. I thought he had an outstanding game. Then Devin Moore, Triquez Bridges, great interception that he had, tip drill interception. I'll pull up that clip here in a second. And then Grayson Howard, Dejon Johnson. So, I mean, just the team overall, when it comes to cornerbacks, Jason Marshall didn't have the best game in terms of just allowing 2 catches on 2 targets for 56 yards. I think he had a missed tackle or 2 in the game, but overall, Jason Marshall's had a great year, and hopefully his injury doesn't keep him out too long. But I fear we might not see Jason Marshall for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to figure out a way how to play without him, at least for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Guys,
go ahead.
yeah, we should be fine in the DB room, man. Like, I think he probably is out for the season, but it's just an opportunity. Hopefully, I don't know where we at with Jakeem, but Devin Moore, you also still got Mustard on the beat.
Yeah,
he's playing good defensive back as well. Just get those guys an opportunity. One man down, the next man up. Jason Marshall should make some money on Sundays for sure.
Sorry, I'm pulling up this clip here on this Tri-Coast Bridges because I think, I mean, just a hell of a way to play the ball here for
I think it was like a double tip. I think it went off 2 sets of hands.
Yeah. So is it up on the screen? All right.
Well, overthrow, and we all like. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this league that overthrow, and sometimes there's no safety in the vicinity. I'm like, why is nobody around this ball ever for us, man? And it just came through. We were around the ball a lot before that play. I was just like, eventually one of these overthrows we're going to get.
Yeah, I think that one, the Cormani McLean pick 6, which shout out to Billy Napier for letting the team go celebrate with him. I thought that was cool that they were able to take that penalty. And then the Aaron Gates hit where it ended up being a PBU, but his ability to just get and hit the receiver right in the hands where he dropped the ball were probably my 3 favorite plays when it came to coverage in this game. Just overall, team looked good, looked like where they needed to be, playing with a lot of energy, enthusiasm. I mean, the team's playing hard right now. I mean, we're going to talk coaching hot boards here in a bit, but I mean, you got to give them credit, man. I've seen this team give up. Jordan, maybe you've been around teams that have given up. I'm not going to say you guys ever gave up. That's not my place to say, but I'm just telling you what it seemed to look
Accusations.
like. No. Jordan never gave up. But like it does seem like this team is really trying their best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They playing for him.
Yeah, I will.
Dan's about to give these guys a bless your heart.
Right. I've been in a lot of locker rooms where the coach was on a hot seat. Obviously, y'all know how many coaches we've been through over the past, 8 years? Like, let's be real. It's been a lot of different coaching changes. So I kind of feel the energy when it's you got a hot seat for the coach, and the coach is kind of putting pressure on you as a player, and just all the vibes are wrong. And I feel like as a unit, you just got to come together as a brotherhood and kind of just want to do it for each other, not necessarily the coach. Like, I feel like that's what draws the line in it all, is that, like, they need to come together as players and as brothers and say, we're going to do this for us. Like, we're all here. We all made the commitment to come to this school and bleed orange and blue. So I feel like they just got to stand on that and live on that, man. That'd be the best thing for them to do, because them trying to do it for the coach, not to say that they won't, but I feel like you do things when it's more for you than for somebody else sometimes. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's well said, bro.
We talked about coverage, just talked pass grade. Shamar James ranked as your best pass rusher there, ends up with 2 hurries. Caleb Banks ends up with 2 hurries. Jack Pyburn ends up with a sack. TJ Searcy ends up with a sack in this game too. Overall, pass rush grades, not great, but not terrible. Got a lot of different players that got to play in this game. Want to ask you guys, surprised about Kelby Collins? I think he only got 2 plays in the entire game. Kind of surprised that we haven't seen more of him this season.
Yeah, I think he's a edge rusher. They thought he outgrew the position. They threw him into defensive tackle. Like, to me, that's a strong side defensive end, if anything. Like, he needs to be going after the passer. I think they shouldn't have moved him inside. They've burned his red shirt, though. He's probably played about 17 snaps this year in 6 games, but he's played over the 4.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I thought like his freshman year he showed a lot of promise. Game 1, right at Utah, he was making an impact, on the road, and just to watch it kind of dwindle. And I said it earlier this year, like what happened to Kelby Collins, like what's going on. Also with I think TJ Searcy's while he's playing decent ball, he's getting reps. I just thought they would be developed a little bit faster. And the sophomore year would be like they coming out party, both of those guys, and it's just not happening. While the defensive line is playing solid. I don't want to complain too much, but I am concerned about him moving from position to position, and that like dwarfing his maturation and his development. I thought Tyreek Sapp suffered from a little bit of that. They wanted him to go inside to fulfill some needs, and I think that slowed him down. I think the same thing could be happening with Kelby.
Yeah, Kelby was listed. What was he listed at? He was listed at 270 last year. I think they had him listed a little heavier, and then listed at, where is he on here?
Nice.
Listed at 278 now, almost 280.
Oh wow,
so,
he's a big boy now.
6'3" and 3/4. I just don't know, man. Like it's you're not playing Madden. Like you can't just be like, oh shoot, his grade goes from 87 to 88 if we move him to defensive tackle. It's a whole different position. It's a whole different world. You can't just move guys around like that.
What have we thought about just taking a look at the NCAA game post mid-season grade improvements? Like, hey,
yeah.
An option.
Hey, look, he's probably a pretty good tight end too.
You'd like that.
But no, like it's a whole different position. You're asking him to do something completely different. You're going up against centers and guards when in high school playing at 260, you were able to line up 7 yards away from the left tackle and just use your speed to get around a high school tackle. So it's a completely different position. I mean, how many snaps, if you haven't pulled up, Dan, has he played this year? Because every game is like between 2 to 6, 7 snaps. Like it's got to be frustrating.
I know.
He's played a total of 30 snaps,
and he's played in all 7 games.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah. Not ideal.
Yeah, Caleb Banks is playing good ball, but just from a rotation standpoint, I thought we had the talent to be able to rotate him in to get like valuable snaps, and it's just not happening there. So we'll see. Keep an eye on it. I do think the defensive line is being coached well and playing well after those first 2 games. The bye week, you just see them playing a little bit more aggressive and approaching the whole scheme differently than they were before. The interior of the line is definitely playing well. I had even Cam. Big Cam, to me, was playing too passive, and it looks like now they're seeing getting ball a little bit more. And then when 21 come in, he got a tackle for loss in the game, bro. He's just like they're playing more aggressive and not just to eat space, in my opinion. It felt like in the first 2 games in the Miami game, they were just trying to eat up space and let the linebackers roam. Now they're like getting into the backfield to cause more havoc. It seems like the biggest difference.
And in talking to some of those guys, like that's their role as, especially the nose tackle, but their role inside is to eat space and create for others, which is already a selfless spot to be in. Just like, hey, you're gonna have to hold on to 2 dudes and let a linebacker come in and fill that gap behind you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do want to give Jack Pyburn a shout out. We forgot to mention that he went in as fullback, which I think if I were to pick a player on my team, there's no guy that I think represents the fullback position more than Jack Pyburn.
Yeah, just nasty. He's a football player, bro. You can't not dislike. He's like Latimer on the program. Like their energy. Last year on special teams, he was just running down the field, smacking people that, like, even if they didn't do a return, you see him laying somebody out, bro. Like first person to the end zone, just running full speed for no reason. Those football players are always just nuts. And if the talent ever catches up to the speed of the game, we just knew he was going to be able to make some plays and have that type of energy you need on the defense. So shout out to Jack, bro. Like we'll get into our awards, but he's just been surprisingly good on the defensive line.
Yeah, he plays with his hair on fire.
He sure does.
100%.
That's a guy that breathes sniffing salts. You know what I mean?
He eats them. He's eating Joey Slackman's.
He seems like a guy that would dip cope during the middle of the game too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not even long cut snuff. He's
or just a chewing tobacco, just
a full lead.
Yeah, just the lead. Yeah, that's right. All right, guys. Any more thoughts on this game? Obviously, big win by the Gators, and we're going to celebrate wins. Obviously, on this show, we want the team to win. Man, if you're still complaining every single day about the team, whether they win or lose, like, catch a grip, man. Like, just appreciate the win for at least a couple days before firing off the Fire Billy Napier tweets, which brings us to our midseason awards.
Yeah.
All right. So before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at Gametime Sidekicks. Go visit GametimeSidekicks.com. Great cups. Jordan, we'll get you some here.
Yeah, you're doing some cups.
That water just went in my eyeball. Go visit Gametime Sidekicks. Great top, obviously, really secures things. But go check them out. A lot of Gator products there. They do some NIL products. They do a bunch of different schools as well. Best cup, great price. If you use promo code Stadium15 at checkout, you'll get 15% off of your order. Corey's got one. Nick's got one. I use it every day. And not just because it was given to me, but because it works. Go visit GametimeSidekicks.com. Promo code Stadium15. All right, guys, we're going to give out some midseason awards here. We're going to start with MVP, Most Valuable Player. Corey, I don't think we've started with you in a segment this week, so start with you, Brad.
Most Valuable Player. That's tough right now. And he's starting with me.
Yeah.
I have time to adjust my lies at all, bro.
No, that's fine. We can start. Somebody else want to start? Corey's on the hot seat. And, the seat's a little too hot for him.
Yeah, I don't know if I can handle it right now.
You got one, Jordan?
Nobody has one.
I mean, I guess you got to go with the Q, right? I mean, he's been taking over the ship and been navigating everything pretty good. So you got to go with DJ at the end of the day.
Interesting. Okay.
Because he could be stinking it up and we would have a totally different perspective on him. So I'm glad that he's holding it down and he managed to get us a good win. So as of right
most valuable now,
I'm going to say I think he's maybe the most important, but I think valuable. But hey, I'm not going to tell you your take's wrong, Jordan.
No, I like it. I'm not mad at it.
I'm just going with the safe choice.
Yeah. I like that. I like that enthusiasm.
Shout out to my guy Blake Roberts in the comments. He said Elijah Badger. I'm not mad at that. He's been consistent with both quarterbacks, providing us a deep threat. Not mad at that. It's if the injury didn't happen to this point, I mean, you're probably looking at from a stat and production standpoint, every game showed up. It was going to be Montreal. Hadn't he went down, but since he went down and going forward, it's a little difficult losing Mertz and losing Montreal. Those are your two cornerstones, I think, of value on this team from a leadership perspective. But right now, and going forward, it's just depending on how you look at valuable. But going forward, it's got to be DJ Lagway, as far as making the offense go and us being able to win games, he's going to be the most valuable guy on the team. But I'm not mad at Elijah Badger. Can we do offense and defense?
Yeah,
sure. We're gonna do offense. I've got one here, and you guys aren't gonna pick it, so I'll go last. Nick, go ahead.
Mine's Montrell Johnson. Montrell, as the only co-host prior to Scarlett being on, who appreciates Montrell for what he 100%. Is. 70 carries, 373, 4 touchdowns, 533 a carry.
Can't beat that.
Montrell's had his best year in college, and he's already had 3 years where he's rushed for at least 800 yards. I expect him back by Georgia. I don't think he's going to hit my 1,000 yard mark that I put out there for him. But he's going to go over 3,000 career rushing yards this season. So Montrell, I think, has been the most consistent player on Florida's offense.
Yeah, Montreal better get ready because when he come back, every time he don't break a run, people are gonna be like, "Put ball in the game, man!
Run the damn ball,
right?
Run the ball."
By people, you mean you and others, but definitely you.
Yeah, Stephen Harris is going to come back with his run the damn ball. Sure. I ran into Stephen Harris, but I didn't 100% know it's him, so I didn't go up and say hello. We were watching the Gator game a couple weeks ago, so next time we're there, we'll hang out. And Stephen, I know you said you want a cup. To go use promo code Stadium15. Not sure if you listen. 15% off of your order. You too can get as many cups as you want. I'm going to go a little bit different. I like all of your takes. But I've been known to throw out a weird take here and there every once in a while. It doesn't happen often, but I'm going to go with Brendan Crenshaw-Dickson. Who's ranked as one of the best tackles in all of college football this year, helped solidify a very bad offensive line coming into this season. I think with him coming in, you allowed Damian George to move in, who is doing a fantastic job. He's doing a good job at the right guard position. I think it's solidified that line. I think because the line is solidified, Montrell Johnson can have a great year. Jaden Ball can have a good year. I think that there's been a lot of improvement, but I'm going to go with Brendan Crenshaw-Dickson as my MVP on the offensive side of the ball.
PFF has him rated the 48th tackle in the country.
Okay. Yeah, I know he was top 20 at one point, but still somewhere out there.
Nick had him as the worst offensive tackle in the country.
Yeah,
and I was just the mailman delivering you your bills, and you were yelling at me, sending your dog out to bite me.
That analogy stinks. Don't do that one.
Yeah, no, and Smokey
listen,
Gator
I
said,
knew-
did Dan watch the Miami game? I did, and the entire team looked atrocious. So if we're looking at the Miami game, everybody looked bad. So for me, this is about improvement. It's about solidification where we're at now. So yeah, no, I watched the Miami game for sure. But yeah, Coach, told Nick that, I don't know if I need to put that up there, but there is a coach that told Nick that Brendan Crenshaw Dixon couldn't play. That guy's still out in the Mountain West now. All right, let's go defensive side of the ball then. Defensive side of the ball. Jordan, we'll start with you, brother. Defensive MVP.
Defensive MVP. Like I said, I was impressed with the front seven, so it'll definitely be somebody up there. But I'm gonna go with Big 21, man. He's been holding it down. He's been doing his thing, and I think without him, my defensive line will probably look a little bit different in certain situations.
Oh, 100%.
Man, okay.
I'm rocking with the big boy, man.
All right.
He's been doing his thing on them fourth downs, bro. You can't lie. Like if some of those fourth downs and some of those conversions are made, some of these games are definitely different. The ones that we did win. I ain't mad at that tape, but I gotta go with one of the linebackers, which I think is like the best room on the defense. They all playing well, but it's not a lot of drop off. I'm gonna go with Jaden Robinson. A lot of people putting Pup, but man, Pup, like they both are playing well, but Jaden Robinson is gonna make some bread on Sundays. Pup will as well. It's just such a surprise to me, and he's just everywhere. In the run fit, passing situation, he matches up well. I think he's doing a very good job, man. So just give me Jaden Robinson. I think he should get more snaps. I think he should break the huddle as a starter week in and week out. And like Shamar's playing decent football. It's hard to bench a guy in that position, but Jaden Robinson's playing great.
There's just a football IQ that I think you need to have. You don't need to have it, I guess, to play, but separates people. Like I remember when Davis got to campus, he got there early, and they just told him, like, hey, follow Antonio Morrison. Like, you're going to have to play. Just follow him. And the two of those guys are so smart on the football field. It helps you get to spots. Even if you don't have the athleticism of an Alex Anzalone, you can make up for it by knowing what you're seeing and getting to a spot early. I think Jason Marshall was a guy I was going to go with. I think he's having his best year. But no bias, because there's never any bias. I'm going with Tyreek Sapp.
Yeah, baby.
You guys go to
no. Listen. Tyreek Sapp, you mentioned it earlier, Tyreek Sapp has taken a nose tackle snap while at Florida. That's ridiculous. Yeah. He's done everything that's asked of him. He's a guy who played outside, was in defensive end in high school, came here as that. He's played nose tackle, defensive tackle. He's back on the edge. He's having his best year. There's been games where he's only gotten like 10 snaps.
Yeah.
But I think for what he does in the locker room, what he does for that defense, they look to him to be their guy, to be their energizer, to be their leader. So for more than what he's doing on the field, I think the defense kind of embodies his personality and his intensity. So Tyreek Sapp, I'm giving it to him.
I mean, I like that. You guys left me Jason Marshall, Sharif Denson, Pup Howard, George Gum. I mean, there's a lot of names left here. I'm going to go.
We got more awards, bro.
I'm going to go with 0. I'm going to go with Sharif Denson. I think that he's having a great year. I don't know where he was last game, but I think that he's your best safety. I think he's ball hawk.
What if he got his spot to it? What if your MVP got his spot to it?
I think he maybe didn't play. Maybe he's injured. Maybe they knew they were going to win that game. You know what I mean?
The rest your best player?
Yeah, Nick's on mute.
Give him a week off.
Yeah, just a rest week. You know what I mean? It's not like they have a bye week next week. You know what I mean? But give Aaron Gates the opportunity to see what you have, and it's just you can play around with a lot of different things against this Kentucky team. So, but I want to give credit to a lot of guys, and we're going to talk about them here in a second. But that entire defensive backfield has done an outstanding job this year. Let's talk about freshman of the year, Nick. or new or like redshirt freshman.
Yeah. We have
not named DJ Lagway.
redshirt freshmen are not freshmen.
Well, they are.
You're on your second year.
Yeah, but it's the first year.
Second year.
You know what I mean?
You're swimming.
Your first full year where you can play more than 4 games
on 13 plus months.
That's going to be
DJ
a hell of
Lagway.
a plaque.
DJ Lagway is the freshman of the year. He's played in every game. I think we all probably expected, once the season started, to name him. There's some other guys that are playing a ton. But if we're talking about just true freshmen, I mean, you can throw in redshirt freshmen. I'm going to go DJ Lagway no matter what, but there's a big list, especially if you open it up to redshirt freshmen, because like Aaron Gates, Sharif Denson.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Shaden Robinson.
You know what I mean? That's why we opened it up, because it's just DJ Lagway and then Jaden Ball.
Play my song. Play Go DJ by Lil Wayne.
I mean?
Thank you.
All right, Corey, who do you got?
Oh man. I mean, offense is it's 2 guys. We're gonna end up saying, Jaden Ball, DJ Lagway, but I like what I've seen from Hawkins as well. Whenever he's gotten opportunities, Tank Hawkins is playing good ball. So just to speak on somebody on the offensive side of the ball, that's just not the obvious, same ones we're gonna say. I think you can just see the potential and explosiveness out of Tank Hawkins as well. He's not getting the targets that we talked about preseason that I thought he should get in attention, but when he does get snaps, he makes the most of it. Are we doing defense as well, or are we just doing offense?
Let's just do offense. We'll just do one.
I'll go with Jaden Ball as mine. I mean, he definitely just came onto the scene as of this game for real and made a big splash on the internet and all over the world. So I'm riding that wave. I'm a running back guy, so I already got DJ as my MVP, so I can't make him my freshman too.
And that boy run hard, bro, like you ran hard. You know what I'm saying? Like
I love that tough run, and I ain't too much of a guy. I want to show me that you can go ahead and get dirty every play. Tough yards, go.
Not too many choppy feet when 2-5 had the ball in his hands.
What?
I like those picks,
baby.
Like those picks. I'm going to go with Mustard Johnson as my pick. Obviously, DJ Lagway was the easy choice. Nick made it really simple, kind of the coward's way out here. So I'm going to go with Dijon. And I think his role is obviously going to be vastly more important with Jason Marshall. I think that he is better than Jakeem Jackson. I think that he, Devin Moore and Dijon, I don't think there's a huge separation. So I think a lot of us were kind of clamoring for DJ Moore of last year. But big fan of how he's played this season. So I'm going to go with him. Corey, who'd you go with? Tank. I'm just writing these down because we'll revisit them at the end of the year. And then let's do transfer player of the year. And I didn't put this one on the list before the show. So we have one more category after this, and that's going to be biggest surprise. So think about that as well. Who is your transfer player of the year thus far? I'm going to go with Elijah Badger. Nick?
Elijah Badger. I think it's one of two. It's Badger or Pup.
Or DK. I mean, DK looks like a man possessed out there too.
Could have gone with your guy Brandon Crenshaw Dixon as well. Transfer. I'm going to go with Badger though. Leading the team in receptions, yards, tied for touchdowns.
I'll tell you who it isn't.
DJ Douglas
or Joey Slackman.
Oh yeah, 1 snap and 3 snaps respectively in this game.
Yeah, Slackman's got to go over to the wrestling team, earn his NIL in some other type of capacity, man.
There is no wrestling team in Florida.
It's not? Oh, we need to get one. Oh, man. Let him be the captain, bro. He's got to earn this check, bro. He's getting paid a lot of money for these 1 and 3 snaps, man. Like, he got a big check in NIL, man. Just not the pocket watch. I'm just saying.
Sounds
transfer. I am a little bit because that was a big part of the budget.
Not to pocket watch, but I've been watching. And,
we got a salary cap here a little bit, bro. They spent a lot of money on the Slackman. But he did got smelling salts, and hopefully he gave those to Pie Burn to use before the game because he's not using them. Let me get transfer. It's a lot, man. I'm going to go with DK just because I was wrong about Shamir DK. Special teams, he's providing us, a security blanket more so when Graham Merce was playing. You could tell they had the chemistry back at Wisconsin. Now that DJ's there, DJ has more chemistry with the deeper ball with some other guys, but Shamir has had some big punt returns and been solid as a receiver, man. So give me Shamir DK. I'm just gonna go with one guy. I don't want to be going offense, defense. We'll be on here forever. Yeah.
All right, Jordan.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna piggyback off what he said. I'm gonna go Shamir DK as well. I think he made his way and stepping up and showing he can do something out there. So I'm tailing with him.
All right. I like it. And then who's your biggest surprise of the year? This can be anybody on the roster, maybe outperforming what you thought. Doesn't necessarily have to be a superstar on the team, but who's the guy that you are the most surprised with?
Brian Gums, man.
Gums? All right.
Yeah, Gums. I just didn't. George Gums, sorry. Always mixing up first names. George Gums was the guy that we got in the transfer portal. Looked like Tarzan getting off the bus, but you just never know. Some of these guys look physically, they could do some things. I know he had a position change. Came into college football as a tight end, a receiver type position. Now he's an edge rusher, outside linebacker, however they want to play him a little bit, but super effective, disruptive. You know, he's in position. He looked like he belongs in the SEC. So it's just a surprise. I didn't think he was going to be that good. I thought he was more of a project, and maybe next year, the following year, he'd develop and be doing the things he's doing this year. So give me Gums.
I like that.
Pause.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna probably go Komani McLean. I feel like a lot of people was talking bad about him. A lot of people said basically he had a lot of off the field issues and wasn't gonna pan out. Obviously, a lot of people were worried once he left Colorado and wasn't playing there. There was a lot of question marks on him. So I think he was my biggest surprise to, you know, obviously we all know he had the ability to play, but just putting it all together and to be able to go out there and make plays, I think he just surprised me. I didn't think it was going to be this early, in my opinion.
My biggest fear with him was going to be if we were losing, like a star, as big of a star player that he was out of high school, riding the bench while you're losing could get tricky.
Right.
For a guy like him.
Gone or just, man, Gainesville can get crazy. Ain't much to do there. A lot of people end up getting in trouble, all sorts of stuff. So I'm happy that he kept a good head on his shoulders, man, and he's out there making plays now.
Bro, that's one thing. Shout out to Billy. I'm not checking Gainesville mugshots on Sunday morning anymore.
Right.
That used to be part of the actual weekly schedule.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what happened last night after the game.
What?
I mean, I don't want to say it, but I wouldn't mind taking the blotter if we was in the playoffs a little bit.
If we were 6-1.
Yeah, like just a little bit.
Throwing a side of Jimmy John's, I'll take that. You know,
I was getting a lot of arrest reports, and there weren't a lot of New York Six Bowls. So I appreciate the choir boy team that they've got right now.
Right.
I'm going to go with, because I was so critical of him, I'm going to say Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon. Was critical of him in the offseason, felt justified week one.
You were beating your chest, man.
Felt justified week one. And then a couple of that guys have said Pyburn surprises me only because of how much of a psycho he was in coming back from an ACL injury. He was back 6 months after the ACL surgery and playing football. I think that's crazy. I think Pyburn's a great answer there, but I have to go because of the stances I took delivering the mail.
Yeah.
That Brandon
I appreciate you doing that, Nick. Yeah, I appreciate you doing that. I'm going to go, and somebody here said it, and I had it already written down. Who was it? Blake Roberts, Damian George, and his improvement to me.
Yeah.
That's the name that I had on there.
He gonna give you one pre-snap like penalty or something random every game. That's just who he is.
Yeah, you're good. But just from what he was, and I know he changed positions, right? But from what he was to what he is now, and to what the offensive line is looking like as they mature throughout the season, he was a guy that we talked about on this show all of last year, the entire offseason, and we did not want to see him on the field. And he's turned out a good year, and I think he's getting better. So I'm going to go with him just because last year was so bad, and we didn't know that it could get a lot better. So I do want to give them his credit. There's a lot of names, Triquez Bridges, a lot of people.
In the offseason, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all did. But overall, Right now, Gators sit 4-3. There was a super chat here by Keem a long time ago. If we go undefeated the rest of the season, do we make the playoffs as a 3-loss team?
That would be so. Right now, Georgia is ranked what 3, 2, 1?
No, 3. Oregon's 1.
Texas is ranked top 5. LSU is ranked top 8.
Yep.
So you have
top 132.
FSU is roughly in the top 132. You might lose your case by having to play FSU. But a 3-loss team, if Florida beats all those, they'd probably have to get into the SEC championship game and win that.
I don't think that they
to make it.
Yeah, that would be.
I don't think they would.
Listen.
If you're a gambling
but
man,
then you all of a sudden start to have a couple of 2-loss teams, and if Florida can beat them, then is there a chance that they lose another one along the way?
Right.
To get that 12 spot or 11, whatever they would be ranked. But yeah, I mean, I think it'd be really, really hard for the Gators to make it. Yeah, there'd be a lot of weird things that would have to happen. But it's been a weird football year. Been a very weird football year. I thought we were going to come on the show and talk about Quinn Ewers not playing for the rest of the year, but apparently the 247 account was hacked with a graphic that looks a hell of a lot like a graphic that 247 would make. But yeah, no. So that's where we sit right now. Let's get into everybody's favorite topic, coaching hot board. Before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Alumni Hall, alumnihall.com. Go visit them in Gainesville on Archer Road. Whatever you might want, from T-shirts to tailgating supplies, accessories, Christmas ornaments, any gift for anybody from big to small and young to old, you can get it at Alumni Hall. Go visit them in Gainesville. Let them know Stadium and Gale sent you. All right. I've got a banner made, so pew, 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 pew. Coaching hot board time.
Billy Napier. Winning his way back onto your boards?
William Hall Napier.
Fire.
Is not on my hot board. He's not. Steve Sarkisian.
Let's do real quick before
removed this weekend from the hot board. I think Mark Stoops was already removed, but I removed him again. But Steve Sarkisian.
Dan, I slid him back on Saturday around 6:45 just to remove him again.
Well, it's like what I did with Josh Heupel. He's off too, but he was off 2 weeks in a row. I forgot that he was off the list the week before. Go ahead, Corey.
Real quick before we get into our hot board takes, just like our takes, we can all individually say how we're feeling just about the position we're in right now, because people are asking if we go undefeated. Do we think there's an outside chance of Billy, or do we think he deserves the job? Like, what's that scenario looks like? In my opinion, as bad as we lost to Miami and got dominated at home, same thing with Texas A&M. Those are just ugly marks. We threw away, in my opinion, the Tennessee game. We still this year we're 4-3, but we still haven't beat a winning team, so we haven't proven much. We beat teams that we were supposed to beat, which is an improvement, but this is not Gator standard football, so we're still not playing up to that standard. We all got the eye test here. We're seeing the talent all over the field. And we match up with absolutely every team we're going to face. We match up, but it's just not coming out from a coaching and scheme perspective. So I still think the seat's hot, and I think it's you offer that seat. The only way to get out of that hot seat is to beat a Georgia that's ranked top 5, the Texas that's top 5. Like, you got those type of wins, beating Mississippi State, beating Kentucky. 2 losing programs right now. I don't think changes that seat, because the schedule is just going to be what it is again next year. Nothing changes. So you got to show that you can beat some of these teams that are competing for the playoffs, because this team is talented. The blue chip ratio ranking, they got us like 11 to 14th in the country talent-wise. It just got to all add up. The math ain't mathing. So while the roster's talented, and also where the recruiting's at, there's a lot of things in the flux right here that will have to change for. If not, I think you just let it all play out. Me personally, I don't think we're going to win out. Just being a football guy, just speaking just straight up football, we're not going to win out. I don't think we're going to beat Texas or Georgia. But let the cards fall. Crazy things are happening this year. But if they don't win out, or they don't beat Texas and Georgia, I think you just run Zook it. Let him coach to the final game. The guys are playing for each other. They're competitive. There's no reason to blow it up. So you just let it play itself out. And I'm still on coaching board talk. What are you guys' perspective before we get into that?
Shout out to Rob S. I know Jordan will back this up. Bring back Mac.
I'm telling you.
For what?
For what?
boat shoe coordinator? Like, what are we doing here, man? Like, did you like the boat shoes? Did you like the boat shoe like vibe?
I feel like it had its perks, but at the same time, I had some downfalls to it. Honestly, my personal opinions, I feel like Dan Mullen was really the best coach out of all the coaches I had there. I feel like he brought the great offense. He brought back the Florida culture. Obviously, he was around the time when they won the chips and stuff. So I feel like, honestly, if we bring anybody back, I would want to probably bring Mullen back, man.
No. Come on.
Yeah, a lot of people don't feel like that.
Come on.
Dan does not like me.
I know he does it's a lot of people around there. But I just feel like, man, he had our offense flowing the best. I mean, he was making it happen, and Florida was known for always having great defenses throughout the year. So that's really all we was missing. But that eventually fell off. That's what really made the decline of his coaching career, because basically all the good defense that McElwain had built up kind of died down over his years, and his offense began to get better. But then our defense started progressing, and he tried to go fire the defensive coordinator. That wasn't a problem, et cetera, and yeah.
Well, I think going back to it, Silk, I think the question or what you said, there's two different answers. Do you think, is there a scenario where he wins enough games that he's back? Yes. Do you have to know that is true, that the UAA, that Scott Strickland will look for a reason to keep him, versus do you personally, and that's every different person can have their own opinion, believe he should be back? Those two different things. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think honestly, man, you see the talent in the room as of now. Like, you see the young guys and they playing good. You see that he can bring talent into the school. I'm not fully sold on selling him yet. He's brought me back in the fact that now I think he has a chance to kind of turn this thing around. You kind of just got to give him time. He was dealt a pretty tough schedule considering, you feel me, everybody else's schedule. So I don't know. I agree with Slick, man. We should just let him play it out and just see where it goes from there. I mean, you're already there. The money's going to be spent regardless. So give him a chance.
Yeah, this is my thing. I'm thinking timing. I'm thinking recruiting, which is obviously not doing great. The Gators lost a 4-star the other day, and we'll just kind of mention it. We don't really talk a ton of recruiting on this show. There's some other ones that do a little bit better. But right now, I think the Gators are sitting 51 in recruiting right now. This is my thought, though. If you're going to keep Billy Napier and in a couple of weeks, do you make the announcement maybe before the season's over just to try to fight against that Billy Napier is getting fired? And I'm not saying that I agree with it or not, but do you think that that's a possibility just to try to solidify something in this recruiting class?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that other coaches are negatively recruiting against Florida. And I'm not going to tell fans how to tweet. If you want him fired and you want to tweet that, go ahead. But that's just Kirby Smart. All he has to do is pull up #fire Billy Napier, or pull up Billy Napier, or just scroll through a phone.
Listen to this podcast.
Or who was doing a coaching hot board segment after week 7. I think we started doing it after week 4.
Earlier than that.
Get the ball rolling, baby.
You might have to come out and be like, listen, Billy Napier will be our coach next year.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it would be smart, but if you knew, I just don't think they know.
Yeah.
No, because if you go last year, Florida was at 5 wins right before Georgia.
5-2.
They needed 1 win to hit that over, to go cash your ticket in Vegas, and they went 0-5. They went over the rest of the way. They're 1 win away from hitting the over of 4.5 that Vegas set before the year, with 5 games to get it. I think
that's why the first half was so important too. It was important for him to get some of those wins that we let slip away, and we just wasn't hot out the gate like we are.
It's really
now.
Only one win that you let slip away. You really only let Tennessee slip away.
No, Texas A&M,
that game wasn't that close. That game wasn't that close.
And we think that's coaching. I don't think. Yeah, that's the point. Texas A&M came with a true freshman quarterback, first time in the swamp, and went stupid. And we were just sitting there looking for no answer. With a brand new coach, year 1 in the swamp, fresh in the season, and they're just going crazy on us. And we watching our phenom just sit there twiddling his thumb on the sidelines while the offense is just chugging along. And
he played every other series. That's when they were doing
third series
quarterback hot potato against.
And he told Texas A&M before the game which series he's going to be playing. Hey, every 3rd, 5th, 7th series.
No, that was Mississippi State. That was Mississippi State. Mississippi State was 2 for 1. A&M was every other one. When both quarterbacks said, like, yeah, it was hard to get into a rhythm. Oh, really? You think?
You can't. Go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry. I go on forever.
No. I was just going to say, I know a lot of people are saying, hey, just keep Billy for another year and then hire an offensive coordinator. There's people that would come, to University of Florida. Right? Yeah, there's an offensive coordinator that would go to the University of Florida. I just don't know if it's the names that you're thinking of are going to be making that jump. There's one name that I know that everybody's infatuated with that lives in Las Vegas that I think would go to the University of Florida, but completely different system than Florida's used to running. And if Billy Napier has one final year to figure it out with an offensive coordinator and you go demand that he hires one, either you've got to really, really hope it works out, or you got to be okay with some growing pains of a different offense coming in. Because all of the names that the chat wants and all of the names that are probably possibilities in a Billy Napier offense and Billy Napier coach team are not the same. There's not a lot of congruency.
Here's my fear, right?
Lane will lose out.
Maybe Lane
will lose out. And
Lane's like, I don't even like, we got to talk about Lane on the board altogether, bro. It's a little iffy right now. But my biggest fear is us doing what Florida State did, where Norvell's looking terrible and then Jordan Travis goes stupid and when go 13-0, they extend this guy, give him like this $80 million deal, obscene $65 million buyout, and then they win one game, right? So my biggest fear is Lagway just heroing us and him playing absolutely crazy generational football. We extend this guy, and then the next quarterback, even though he may be some blue chipper, he just ain't Lagway. And then we get a dud. We're back to, pre-Lagway football, and we got a crazy buyout, and the program hasn't made any progress. That's my biggest fear, is us being Florida State.
Go full Florida State.
Yeah, so Corey pulled up the hot board from last week that you mentioned. We got Rhett Lashley, James Franklin, Lane Kiffin was barely on there. Marcus Freeman and Dan Lanning, you mentioned. You said probably not. Lincoln Riley was still there. I'm assuming that he's off.
He's gone.
And then Cliff Kingsbury is on there as well. The chat's wanting to know more about your thoughts about all pop.
Honestly, I've been impressed with how much influence you have, Corey. I think you're the first person that called a poor 62-year-old man Pop. And all I hear is people calling him Grandpa. He's not even old enough to file for retirement yet.
No, not yet.
You got him out here.
And coaching, he's Pop.
You got him on a porch in a rocking chair talking about back in my day. Well, he's
up and coming. He's an up and coming 62-year-old coach, bro. Like he's making his rounds now as like a name and on hot board for the very first time. He's 62. I mean, by the end of his contract, he will be.
Indiana, one of only two schools, shout out to Army, one of only two schools not to have a single second trailed this season.
Yeah, and their average win is huge. It's more than 14 points. Every win that they have, is by 14 points, I think, or more. But their average margin of defeat is by 30 points. I mean, they're putting it. I mean, and they're on the map now. Nick Saban called them out on the show last week or this week. Indiana is going to be hosting College Game Day this week for the first time ever on a Saturday. They hosted a Thursday game there one time, I guess. But Cignetti, I mean, Nebraska's not the same Nebraska that they've been. They've looked okay this year. He put a whooping on them. So I know Kirk Cignetti's the name.
Yep. I ain't mad at him being on the list. It's just watching Indiana's offense. The quarterback, they're making good, decisive plays. The play calling, but the offense isn't sexy to me. I just be concerned about just his X's and O's and the quarterback. It just seems like you got to have the absolute right quarterback for the system. I don't think he's designing guys open. I don't see him schematically just getting guys open. A lot of those throws and plays they're making is contested, but they just flat out winning football games. Mm-hmm. So you just can't be mad at a guy that's just dominating his opponent week in, week out. There was some haters, some pop haters on the timeline saying, all right, they got Nebraska this week.
Yeah, and they
came out that bitch and put hands and feet on people, bro. Go ahead.
And I think their team's like 35 transfers too. So these are obviously he's a new coach this year, so it's a whole new system for everybody. But being able to put all those pieces together, I mean, we've watched. I mean, we're watching Florida State right now, failing miserably, doing the exact same thing that he's doing right now. Not saying that he's at the top of my list, but my fluid list, he's not off. Not off.
Not
They've
yet.
got I mean, not really a tough test. Washington isn't what it is. That's Jed Fish. Then they're at Michigan State. They stink. Then they've got Michigan, Ohio State back to back.
That's when we'll find out a little bit of.
Yeah,
I mean, we gotta be like football, like savvy a little bit here too. Like they're outmatched a little bit when they're going against Ohio State and Michigan. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. But I want to see how competitive they are. I expect them to lose those games, but I want to see how they compete and how close they keep it. You feel me? And I think they could compete the whole game.
Well, they did lose their starting quarterback, so it might be a different ball game now. Indiana.
They did? I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get a full picture of Signetti. Lane just frightens me from this standpoint. Billy's offense looked better versus Kentucky. And also, he's still got to play Billy. And if he loses to Billy, you can't hire a guy that lost to Billy.
Can you imagine? That's the game that makes
Billy Napier is going to save his job by beating Lane Kiffin in the swamp. And then take a victory lap on Mike Norvell the next week.
He's going to reach out, try to be on the show. He's like, hey, guys, we're doing a coaching hot board segment. I'd like to be on. Special guest William Hall.
They're playing Billy's music.
Yeah.
You got to put the old intro back on?
Yeah, I got to put we'll get the old intro back. My camera will be broken that day because I'm a coward. Looking in my eyeballs, you know. Any names, anybody that's surprising you or anybody that you feel, I mean, Lincoln Riley, dud. I mean, they're having a bad year. You know what I mean? They brought down the entire Pac-12 just to go lose on the road at Maryland, you know, and Minnesota.
That's nasty work.
Yeah, that's nasty. I mean, I know what Billy Napier's done is nasty work, but the Lincoln Riley tenure at USC is some preposterous.
I think Lincoln Riley gets bored fast. And it's like, I don't know how invested he'd be at these programs. How he left Oklahoma frightens me. It was just like, hey, I don't want to be in the SEC. As soon as Oklahoma say they're in the SEC, he's out. So bringing him to an SEC program kind of frightens me. I don't think he really want to compete in this league. Then he goes out to the Pac-12.
Is that it, or have you seen the house that they provided him?
Yeah,
and the get out of jail in Norman, Oklahoma free card of living in Southern California, making $10.8 million a year in a free 9-bedroom mansion overlooking the Pacific Ocean.
Have you been to LA lately though?
If you're in LA,
and you live in LA, like it's cool for a year, but to keep living there and to dealing with LA
life than any of us would live in LA.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't think he's feeling the vibes out there. And I don't think they're feeling him. I think he's gonna end up back in the South.
Yeah, Texas. He's from Lubbock. He's from Lubbock, Texas. Which
Lubbock stinks,
dude. It actually literally does stink. It smells like cow manure. I've been to Lubbock.
Lubbock stinks.
It's a big agricultural town, right? But it actually smells like cow poop. Like it's bad.
Whatever, but Lubbock stinks.
Yeah, Lubbock does stink.
Spent 1 week out there.
You were in Lubbock?
Went there for regional. Florida played at Texas Tech for a regional.
Oh, that's cool. Jordan, anything that you want to add? This is your time to say anything.
Thoughts on Lubbock?
No, just in general on the coaching hot board. Hopefully you've never been to Lubbock, Jordan.
Right now, I've never been, but as far as the coach's hot board go, man, I feel like y'all hit a lot of the good names. I feel like Florida State's Mike Norvell may be on that hot seat, obviously. Who would I want to come into Florida necessarily? I really don't know, because I don't know if I want an offensive-minded coach, a defensive-minded coach, or somebody that's going to recruit. I feel like we're all over the place when we're coming to pick a coach and like, oh, we need an offense, or we need a guy that's going to recruit. Like, I really don't know what the answer is. To be completely honest with you, I think Napier did a great job of bringing talent in here. I think we have a lot of talent on the team. Young guys that are talented, transfers that are talented. I think he's doing a great job of that. So if it was to be a new coaching change, I think they would inherit a good team. And I feel like we just need to really figure out what we need. Do we need that premier defense that's just going to hold teams to under 28 points and try to win the ball game like that or whatever the case may be? Or are we trying to go for a high-powered offense? I mean, it is a passing league now and all over the place. So are we trying to – I just feel like we need to figure out what we want to do and just kind of plant our eggs in one basket.
I've seen this narrative that Billy hasn't embraced former players. You said you mentioned that he invited you back, or when you came back, you were welcome. So is that a false narrative that I'm seeing, that like he's not embracing former players, not allowing them to come back? Because I see a bunch of former guys at practices when we're out there.
Yeah, Steven Harris be out there too. I be seeing players there.
From what I've heard, and he's obviously welcomed me with open arms. I mean, he's a great dude, and he definitely wants the former players to come back and kind of just, teach the younger guys the culture, teach the younger guys how it's done. So I believe that is a false narrative. Maybe some dude who's just maybe mad that they didn't get a coaching job or something, talking some crap. So, yeah, for the most part, he welcomed me, man. He was a cool dude. His coaches was cool. I met the running back coach, and they were all good guys.
Running back coach has some shoe game. My guy is walking around in Travis Scott fragments in the rain. I looked at him like, bro, are you crazy? He goes, I got 2 more pairs. Yeah. Hey, you're the actual plug. You're the actual plug.
I like Jaluk a lot.
We didn't do the coaching award, so
we did not do the coaching award. No,
do it next show. It's all good.
Yeah, we'll do the next show.
To the mat.
All right. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of movement on the board this week. James Franklin still on the list, but we'll see. Obviously, this is all conjecture. I know somebody said let's see how the season finishes before we fire Billy Napier. I know that's a prevailing thought by a very small group of people. But yeah, I think that we do this because we see the writing on the wall. But shout out to a win this weekend.
Shout out to Mudkip Plays, who continues to put me on the head coaching hot board. And as long as we negotiate, as long as we can agree to a nice buyout, I will accept the job.
Okay, I like that. Will you still show up to the show? Cancel media availability.
It depends on what happened the Saturday previous to the show.
I can see that. Yeah, that works.
Jordan will be my running backs coach.
Yeah, baby.
I'm gonna start building out the coaching staff.
Just get all the fan favorites. Hire Kerwin Bell, Cade Bell.
I gave you guys everything you wanted.
Yeah, everything you wanted. Ahmad Black, Brandon Spikes to be the linebacker coach. That's my favorite. It's like, why don't we hire Tim Tebow to be the coach? Like,
quarterback coach.
Tim Tebow is married to Miss Universe, makes a crap ton of money every year. And never coached a game of football in his life. I don't think Tim Tebow is going to be the head coach of the University of Florida, nor do I want him to be. At least now. You know what I mean? That brings us to the end of the show, boys. Nice 2-hour show for everybody. Appreciate Jordan for joining the pod. We're super excited about where this pod's going to go. There's going to be a lot of new things that we do, some more exclusive things that we do, just to try to get some more longer interviews, more sit-down interviews, more stuff in person, more stuff in Gainesville. Just try to give you guys as deep and as good of behind-the-scenes view as we can. But we look forward to Jordan each and every week. We're going to be starting at 7:30 for the foreseeable future. So just stay tuned. I know there's a lot of other podcasts that you can watch at around this time too. So we appreciate all of you guys. I think at one point we had about 1,800 people watching. So that's really, really awesome. So we appreciate everybody that gave us super chat. Shout out to Anthony. He did this one earlier. Jordan needs some Flow Factory merch. I mean, yeah, it's just still Stadium and Gale, so we need to get him Stadium and Gale merch first. We need to use on his coaching board. So we'll let his takes marinate on that. Go visit our sponsors, Brunt Insurance, Homefield Apparel, Gametime, Sidekicks, and Alumni Hall. Nick, you have Song of the Week. What do you got, brother?
We do Song of the Week, Jordan, too, man. So
so you're next week.
All right, that's cool.
Nick's not prepared for the big stage.
I was unprepared. Let's go.
Yeah, while Nick does that, if you're still here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you're sharing with your friends and family that are Florida Gator fans. Shout out to my buddy Paul and Derek and Derek's friend Dominic, who I watched a game with Saturday. Great time.
Man, I haven't had a Paul seafood boil in a long time.
Yeah,
man.
We went over to Hat-Tricks.
Yeah.
Saw my buddy,
no invite.
Billy. Saw my buddy Matt's business partner there. We were watching and celebrating. Great ambiance over there at Hat-Tricks on Saturday night. Nick, what do we got?
Going with my guy, Zach Albaverdi, Zachariah making plays.
Zach, what it do, baby?
All right, boys.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see you at the same corner, same time next week. Appreciate everybody for watching, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.